government's ban on styrofoam products will take effect tomorrow, January 1, as part of efforts to reduce the use of plastic in our environment. What does this mean for manufacturers, consumers, and ultimately the environment? Well, we're about to discuss those concerns and others with our guests from the National Environment and Planning Agency. We have with us Public Education and Corporate Communication Manager Olivia Anderson and Environmental Management Director Anthony Mackenzie. Good morning, lady and gentlemen.
Good morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica. So, we are 1 year in to the disposable plastic, what we call scandal bag ban.
Right.
Let's talk about how that is going first, Olivia, and then we can jump into what's going to happen come tomorrow.
Generally, the reception in terms of the ban has been very good so far. We see persons now who were saying, you know, what am I going to do without my scandal bag? Walking with their things outside of the supermarket in their hand, carrying their reusable bags, and people have no shame and no fear to say that they're not dealing with, they're done with scandal bags. So that is a good thing. That is a good thing, rather. And, you know, there have been some challenges, we admit, and what our enforcement team has done is gone out and we've prosecuted wherever we've had breaches.
When you say prosecute, what kind of prosecution are you talking about?
Well, we brought them to court. So we have one matter that was concluded recently, and we reported on that of a popular restaurant. And we have 35 others that will be facing the courts in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. So everybody know tomorrow is Styrofoam.
Tomorrow,
then Karen go court in 2020.
So 2 years, isn't it? 2 years.
2 years.
Imprisonment as a possibility.
2 years imprisonment.
Yes.
Wow.
Or you can pay a fine as well.
Yes.
Depending on the discussion of the judge.
All right, so to be clear, when we say Styrofoam, so people know, because like the scandal, when we say disposable plastic, we have to say scandal. When we say Styrofoam, Anthony, what are we talking about exactly?
Well, the Styrofoam is, well, the proper name, because Styrofoam is a branded name, it's polystyrene, so it's a type of plastic. It's a foamy one, and when you break it, it's a beady. So it's so they've been used to make food containers, food packaging, bowls and cups. Right? And it's light, it's sturdy, and so it's been able to perform. I'm not discrediting that. It's a useful material, Styrofoam.
It can't break down,
but
or
it doesn't break down in the
eternity.
environment.
Okay.
It lasts forever, right? And it floats, it gets into our gullies, gets into our waterways, the impacts are many. And so we have to transition out of the use of that material that is persistent. It also breaks down into microplastic that can accumulate in certain species. The studies are still taking place, but the impacts are many. And so we want us as a nation to transition to more eco-friendly alternatives, materials that break down in our environment. And you know, we have a sort of bad habit of not disposing of our waste properly. When these new alternatives, when they litter and they get into the gully, we expect that they break down in the gully. They'll break down over time, well, in no time in our gullies. So that's good. Plastic, Styrofoam, floats and blocks drains and so on. We're not encouraging that. Certainly not. Certainly not. Right? But Styrofoam gets into the gully, blocks the drain, causes flooding. Whenever we have a drizzle, the drains are blocked.
That's a problem.
We have a big problem.
What is the alternative? Because I was just, Sakina and I were just reflecting that we bought food from somewhere, and when the food go in the container, it just goes on.
The container bend and the food starts
and the food starts come out and it wets up the place.
Right.
So while we're enforcing the removal, are we enforcing the replacement?
Absolutely. Well, enforce maybe not the right word. We're encouraging persons to use the alternatives, and we have a few here with you. This particular one is made from bagasse, and it looks just like our regular burger box.
Okay.
So there are suitable alternatives. There are also those that are made from paper.
Okay, well,
as well.
Is the paper one is the one that bend down and leak with the water when the gravy
so for instance, like the one that is used as a popular, they phased out, even before the ban, they phased it out. I think it was Island Grill. Those boxes.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Those
that
boxes
one don't
are
go
good.
anywhere because it kind of has a lining.
Right.
And that's sturdy. And this one holding a burger, no biggie. we're gonna run away. But what I'm concerned about, and I'm sure other people are concerned about, is this one feels sturdy. But I'm telling you, they have some really thin ones, you know. Where would you recommend that people get the more sturdy ones?
All right, so we encourage persons to call our plastic ban hotline, which is 876, and I'm sure your producer will show the thing there in a minute. 876-285-8531, so that we can provide them with some information
So
of
when
those
they
that
call
we are
that
aware.
one, you will tell them where they can get
Right,
the products
those
and
that
what
we
you
are
recommend.
aware.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
but
fantastic.
there are a number of companies, because we did the assessment, there are a number of companies who can supply the products with quality. I mean, there are people who probably bring in cheap ones that are not, and I must say that the Bureau of Standards, they're looking at standards so that we ensure that we have the proper quality.
That's what I was asking. If you
product.
realize it's
But
the
people-
quality
I mean,
is poor,
people-
who do you call? And you're suggesting
Yeah.
maybe Consumer Affairs, maybe Bureau of Standards.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people can shop around, but there are alternatives on the market, because we have met with people who have been importing,
Yes.
and there are people who are going to be manufacturing as well. So there are options.
This says
available.
Visinco cuts 100 jobs ahead of Styrofoam ban. Olivia, I mean, it's an important movement, but then when you think of 100 people
Losing their job.
losing their jobs at this time of the year, what has been the response like from that sector, people who in Jamaica are manufacturers of it and have staff and other people that rely on it? What happens to them?
Well, I'll go first and allow Mr. Mackenzie to continue. In terms of the response from the private sector and the manufacturers, the response has been relatively good. What we have received, or based on the feedback, is that the manufacturers and the importers, they agree with the ban and that we need to preserve our environment and also public health. So that is also one standpoint.
Yeah, so, I mean, the government is aware, and I mean, this discussion has been going on for some time. So there have been discussions in terms of the jobs, and that will be taken care of. But I think we need to also recognize that as we transition again to a sort of green, eco-friendly economy, I mean, there are new opportunities as well. There are students out of you who know producing material, algal-based material. They went into a competition in the region. They went to Holland for a competition, and they're coming up with new products. If you saw the papers this morning, and company is manufacturing straws and so on from bamboo. Right? So there are opportunities for small businesses as well. So over time, we'll transition. So yes, there have been some losses in jobs, but they've transitioned into other areas. And the government is aware and has been in discussions, and that's been considered.
And
Certainly.
this is pretty much the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah.
We're going to continue, and we want the public to know as well that it's not a spur of the moment decision.
No, man, this
These
has been
companies have
this has
had
been
ample time.
Yeah, we've been
to make.
Senator Samud, as you recall, had that early discussion in 2016 in the Senate. And then since that time, there have been committees and working with the various sectors, the industrial sector, the manufacturers, and so on, as we phased, and we took a phased approach. So the first phase was in January this year, and of course, starting tomorrow is another phase with respect to the styrofoam.
It's an interesting cycle. There was a time when all we were eating out of were paper plates
Exactly.
and paper
then all of a
cups,
sudden-
soup cups, and then we changed, and now we're back to where we were.
back to where we
So I'm guessing in time everyone will be able to
We have learned.
adjust. All right, thank you both
Thank you so much
for
Thank
being
you.
with us. NEPA's Public Education and Corporate Communication Manager, Olivia Anderson, and